Hi, it's the Holistic Travel Nurse. In this episode, I have a friend Rachel on, and Rachel is going to share with us her journey to natural healing and her journey to getting better numbers on the scale using oils and using a diet lifestyle changes to conquer the scale, is like I would to say. I think all of us, I have this whole section on all of us hate numbers, and we only hate the numbers on our scale or sometimes our gene size.
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
Mhm.
So this episode, I hope you'll just stay tuned and listen. And thank you so much, Rachel, for being on. I know you're a super busy mom with 5 children. I had 4, so I think you're pulled in every single direction. So I applaud you to take the time to come on the podcast.
Well, thank you. I'm very honored to be here and share my story and just hope that it helps somebody out there.
Absolutely. What got you into natural healing? What was your eye opening? Go, oh, I'll look into that.
The first really big moment was when my second child was 3 and he developed eczema all over his legs. And we went to an allergist and they tested him, did the pin prick test, and he was allergic to all these things. And it was basically like, well, here's an inhaler and here's some steroid cream. And I had questions, but why does, he eats the same food as my other child. Why does he have eczema and he doesn't? And there was just no answers. And we saw 3 different doctors. I was told, his skin was missing parts. And I was told like, it just some kids have it. And I just refused to put steroid cream on my 3-year-old. And so I began to research and began to learn about what he was possibly breathing in the environment. And we started switching out our cleaning products. And then, looking at things that other ways that he could be getting toxins, and then looking at food. And that was a huge one. And so we never did use those steroids. And he kind of had a longer journey, that child, because I was on antibiotics so much when I was pregnant. He had a longer healing journey, but now he's 15. He's in all AP classes. He's an athlete. He's wonderful. And we got him there all through natural modalities, natural practitioners, and food. And then when I discovered doTERRA essential oils, that was 2011. Someone gifted me some, and that kind of, I like to say, it took me from like my basic tool belt to like this deluxe mom tool belt where I could just take care of my children in so many different ways, boo-boos and owies. And we had gone so long with nothing smelling good in our house, right? 0 fragrance and anything. And so I was so blessed just as a woman and as a mother to have good smelling things that I knew my babies would be safe breathing in.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah, I have a kid with asthma, and they never educated about artificial fragrances are now compared to the secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
No physician has ever told you, hey, throw away the perfume. And that frustrates me. Frustrates me as a nurse in the healthcare field. It frustrates me as just teaching people to be a smart shopper, that there are other moms out there that want to empower and take care of their kids, and they're not being told that just some of the things that they're purchasing are causing them their health issues. So I feel the same way as you. And then, so that was your journey into it. And then it's just snowballed, and I'm sure you're researching, you've gotten major books, but then you've had success on the scale. I'm sure like all women, we get on the scale, and then I have an episode where who exactly, maybe I like it in kilograms and not pounds, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a smaller number. Just got to do the math. Yeah, right. Who likes to get on the scale? It's those numbers or gene size. I don't know. That's maybe my thing. I was like, oh, and I mean, I remember that struggle like at a very young age, that I thought I should be at this gene size because all my other friends were, and struggled with also whatever numbers have been on the scale, I think like our whole lives. So tell me that journey with you. I mean, I bet it's a lot with hormones and children and pregnancies and all that stuff. It's been up and down with you too.
Absolutely. And I remember, I'm 5'7", 8", somewhere in there. And I was always taller than most of my friends, and just built, I'm not a stick figure build. I have a sister who's much thinner just genetically than me. And so always felt bigger, just like most women. I look back at those pictures of myself when I was, 18, 20, and I'm like, dang girl, you should have worn that bikini all the time, right? But we don't know till we hindsight is 2020 how good I look.
Right.
Had 5 babies, had 2 miscarriages, a lot of up and down, adrenal fatigue, all the things. I'm a type A personality, so I push. So before doTERRA, mostly a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling 5 kids, 9 and under. So absolutely burnt out everything you can burn out, staying up till 1 in the morning doing things I wanted to do, working on my photography and stuff, and just gained weight. I did lose it after a few kids, but I don't think I ever lost it all after the 5th. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Being in a wellness industry, being in doTERRA, becoming a leader, I absolutely felt a lot of guilt and shame that I didn't look healthy. And we've been gluten-free for a billion years. I don't know. I don't eat dairy. I would go off sugar for months at a time. I have the discipline to do that kind of stuff. We cleaned only with natural, did so much. I worked so hard, but I didn't look as healthy as I should have, or as I felt. And absolutely, it got to the point where in 2015, we moved to this home. It's a beautiful home in the country, thanks to doTERRA. And I was just very unwell. I was 80 pounds heavier than I am now, so over 230, and swollen, like not just weight, but when you see the puffiness in the face, just swelling around the eyes. I look at those videos now and I just cringe, not because I was overweight, but because I looked sick. And we were about to embark on a journey. I had no idea that our beautiful dream home in the country had mold. And we, so we moved in May. I was a brand new blue diamond in doTERRA. And by December, we were all ill. My children had pneumonia, all 5. My husband had a very bad cough, make him black out. I coughed for 60 days straight, and I'm using every oil I have. I have onion poultices on my chest. I'm literally pulling out every crazy hippie thing I have and I'm not even touching it. And I kept saying something's wrong. And so the mold story is a whole nother thing, but that was basically, overflowed my bucket of all the things, all the years of staying up all night and all the years of giving and taking care of babies and all the things. That overflowed my tank, and I just got sicker. And so it got to the point where I sought out some help. I sought out some naturopaths, and I saw one in Dallas, and she was like, "You're really, really sick." My insulin resistance was through the roof, all the way down the page, red. My mom's a type 2 diabetic, or kind of was, because she's lost weight too and reversed hers. And I had this, she said, we can send you to this place in Arizona where like cancer patients go. So you go for 30 days, like water fast and enemas every day and the whole thing, or you can try to get better at home. And I'd recommend the dairy-free keto diet. And I was so overwhelmed. I cried with her. I hugged her receptionist and cried. I got in my car and I had my rock bottom moment of just being so discouraged and so sick, and obviously not wanting to leave my babies for 30 days. I think it was $25,000 to go, but they're just like, you are ill. We've had professional mold remediations. We've remediated 11 areas of our home in the last 4 years. We've had black mold twice. And so I would kind of get better, and then, but at first I was so overwhelmed by the dairy-free keto diet. So I'm like, I'm already gluten-free and dairy-free, poor me. I already can't eat all the things everybody else can eat, poor me. But I began to have some real life conversations with myself. I can still remember a place I was driving when I would be like, Rachel, you've had enough pizza in your life, okay? Like, yeah, met your quota, grow up, be a grown-up. You can eat pizza in heaven, like, get over it. Whatever it is, whatever it was, I just began. And the thing that was most motivating to me is that I'm so passionate about natural health, and I'm so against like all the trends in our country that I refused to be a statistic. That was the most motivating thing to me, is I refused to be an American with diabetes. That was like the thing I didn't want to die. Obviously, I didn't want to leave my children without a mother. But I was like, I refuse to be a statistic. I know too much. I am way too far into this journey. I have way too many tools. God has taught me too much. And so that was the first time I kind of heard of that. And basically, for me, dairy-free keto diet is a candida diet, pretty much starving out all
Mold
the things that were
toxin.
just rampant in my body. Yeah.
Wow. So the mold is, I understand it. I was exposed, and we live in an RV, and so there, and we're in the South, and it's just, it's super easy to have. It's super easy in any wet, moist climate like you live
Mm-hmm.
to have it and not know. And I have I have a nose for it where I can smell it. Some people don't. I'm highly sensitive. I think that there are some people that are genetically and have those genes that are more sensitive to it. Happen to read, it's like right next to me. I don't know if you read it, but Toxic Sick. Did you see that? Have you ever read that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, her story. This is Suzanne Summers' story on mold.
No, I didn't know
Is
that. I get that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They pretty much almost diagnosed her with cancer, and it was mold, and her
Yeah.
house was killing her. They literally moved out of their house. Um, and so I had to do my own research about mold and the mycotoxins with mold
Yeah.
that are just damaging to your body. So that is super cool. And then are you just lactose intolerant, or why are you dairy free? I
Um,
know there's some people can do dairy. There are other people who cannot do dairy.
yeah, I do believe it's generally inflammatory for most people if they're not reacting. So I had
Mhm.
that motivation, but I just learned that I didn't feel well. Lots more allergies, lots more congestion. It's a mucus producer. So I had just gotten to the point where I just, but I had tons of sugar, right? Like dairy-free Ben and Jerry's is really fantastic. And it actually has more sugar than regular Ben and Jerry's. And we absolutely, as parents, use that as coping mechanism sometimes. The kids finally go to sleep when they were little, and we spent like 2 hours, everyone's crying, like absolutely would soothe ourselves with food.
Mhm.
And all the stress we were going through, our home was actually built incorrectly. So when they put the stone on the front of our home, which is a 1-story, so there's a lot of stone, there's supposed to be a gap for water to run down through. There's supposed to be weep holes, and there's supposed to be plastic covering over the wood called Tyvek. And none of that happened. There was no plastic barrier between the wall and the outside, and there were no weep holes, so water would drain in, soak the wood, and not have anywhere to go. And the person who moved
Oh
out
my
of
God.
here, he actually died of cancer a year after he moved out of this house. And they knew there was issues. They didn't tell us, it's a whole thing. But I needed to be drastic. And I think I'm just turned 40, so many friends who are in crisis mode with their health. They have being diagnosed with autoimmune diseases. They're
Yep.
sick and no one knows why. They're breaking out in hives. They're all these things, between that 35 and plus range. And it's crazy. And we know layers and layers and layers and layers of toxins. Who knows what kind of mold all of us are exposed to. I'm like you now. I can walk in. I was in a popular store recently, big store, and I can smell it, and I found it, and I can see it growing. And then we buy something at the store, and we bring it in our home, and we put it on our couch, and our kids snuggle it while they watch TV, and it's just
Yeah,
on
because they
top
can
of
float in the air. They can
yeah,
float in the air. Well, that's why I think that it's one reason why I have a diffuser in this room is because it's going to kill some of the
yeah,
mycotoxins and
absolutely.
some of that absolutely help with that function. And so I agree. And then, going keto. Now, besides keto, did you do any other cleanses, other things just I'm sure with healing and the detoxing? Because there's when I've read, gosh, I have so many books on toxins, and it's just they overly scare you, but it's truth, and that there are some toxins that our body actually can't get rid of. So we're glad we have some actual cushion on your body, because your body won't get rid of them. They just stay with you the rest of your life. And then that there's others that are worse, heavy metals and things like that.
Yes.
So have you done anything like detoxes and cleanses that have really been beneficial for your health?
Yeah. So my focus 100% with everything was detoxing, life, not just mold, but life. And, so we actually bought an infrared sauna. We went to full crisis mode. So I have
Did you buy an infrared sauna?
yeah, it's in my master bedroom. So that was one thing we did. We finally switched to like a completely safe mattress. We chose IntelliBed. That was just, you know, there's other ones out there, but I was
Lots of them
just
now.
trying to like lower my exposure. Dry brushing with essential oils.
Love that.
It's a hard habit for me to stay in, but I go on and off. It just takes discipline and make sure there's time
Mm-hmm.
for all that. Epsom salt baths were probably one of the number one things I did. Hot Epsom salt baths, sweating
With
it out.
oils.
Number one favorite is Arbor Vitae, Marjoram, Serenity, frankincense. Those four together, they're just my blend. I had a lot of aches and pains. I used to have a lot of pain in my body. I still have some chronic injury pain, but it's just very soothing to the body and the systems to be in a warm bath. And the Epsom salts, you know, help take that off. Athletes do it all the time. And so those oils are very calming for the mind, and it would just relax my muscles, and I could get the full effect of that bath in. So I did those a lot. And then I've done doTERRA's cleanse multiple times. And I totally believe that that has helped me tremendously. I'm in love with their complex that is back finally.
Say that again. The Zendicrine
just
complex.
Zendicrine. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just when I feel better when I take it. I feel lighter, things flow better, which can be an issue on keto, you know. And I just feel so much better. So I take that one all the time, probiotics all the time. Currently taking a binder. So, you know, clay or charcoal. I have one that's both, some kind of binder. That's something I didn't know about healing from mold that I wish they probably told me, but it was like so much at one time. So I take that.
That is so important with healing with mold is a binder.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get my kids, you know, I'm going to cycle through who does them. I have never been officially tested because we haven't actually had a break from having mold in 4 years. So I do not have the emotional capacity quite yet to have a number associated with what's going on in my body. However, losing 80 pounds obviously made me feel much better. The keto I was very strict. I cheated once a month. I personally could cheat and then go right back on. Then it's a little harder now. When you're in maintenance, so it's a little harder because you mentally are like, well, you know. But when I was just like laser focused on healing, I was always sushi, which is terrible probably. But it was what motivated me to stay on track. Some people, if they have food addictions, looks different in everybody. Some people cannot do a cheat at all. You have to find what works for you. But I was laser focused. I tracked everything. So I'm a big believer in tracking for at least 2 months. Because if you're overweight, you probably have an unhealthy relationship with food. And so I would think, like, I would look and say, oh, I have, 20 more grams of protein left, right? So then I would think, well, I'm going to have some chicken. And I'd look up how much that is, and I would guesstimate it, and then I would weigh it, and it was always off. I was always portioning myself more than I actually macros had room for. And it was so good for me, not so I could be strict and hungry and everything, but so that I could get a healthier view of portion size. And so some people hate tracking and they just want to like run away screaming, and everyone's different. But if you can, just try to, get an idea of where your problem lies, because it lies somewhere in fat, protein, or carbs. And so I would track, and if I stalled out, like for me, typically the scale went down every single day. Again, some people, if you have that relationship with the scale, you need to put it away, throw it away, give it away. I am a math person, so I tracked religiously, like 0.1 pounds, 0.2 pounds, that motivated me. And it generally went down constantly. I did colonics every 2 weeks for several months to heal. And my weight didn't go down. Like they flush so much out of you, but they also hydrate your colon and your bowels, which tend to be so dehydrated. And so I'd actually go up a pound or two, you know, having that moisture back in there. And then it would go back down. And then coffee enemas. I still do coffee enemas to
Me
support my
too.
liver. Yeah.
Yep.
Big believer in those. I feel so much radically better when I do them. And so that was
They help
all.
with pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so much better when I do them.
Yeah. I totally get it. We actually are on the same page, except for I'm not a huge trekker because I just fluctuate. So for I have not seen the numbers go down the scale until I've done more intermittent fasting. And then I've had my off days where I've had some carbs that are not on there. But I actually can tell my body if I go way out of ketosis, though.
Yeah.
I can tell now that I've been in ketosis for a while if I don't have a meter. And I thought, did you ever get a meter to check your blood?
So I used nothing forever. We eventually got the urine strips, just mostly for kicks, you know, and it kind of gave me an idea if something kicked me out.
Okay.
And then we did get a meter pretty recently because I finally got my husband on board. All he had to do was go low carb, and he lost like, you know, 50 pounds or something.
I know.
Then it crept back on, and I just like convinced him finally to do keto. And I wanted him to see like numbers of where he was. So we don't use it all the time, but it's definitely the most accurate way. And if people can afford it, I wanted it to be simple. And but yeah, I did a booth at KetoCon in Austin this year, which was so cool. Yeah, it was so
I totally do that with you.
It was so much fun. But there was no like real food there. And since I can't have dairy, like a lot of the products have dairy because my son was with me, but he would go and like sample things and bring them back. But, you know, things that might've been like more heartier, like things that had cheese and things I couldn't have. And so I was having these like little tiny snacks, but they didn't have anything for sale in the building, like meat, which was complete oversight, ridiculous. So we got there early and worked all day. And I was hungry, but like the good ketosis where you can feel like your stomach's like sucking in. And my friends came to visit. They were brand new starting keto. We went to this, to the testing booth. And I think they were like 0.4, you know, 0.5 is in ketosis. And I was at 2.1. And she was like, whoa, you're like deep nutritional ketosis. And I'm like, I'm starving. I just need some meat. And like the second we left, we went and like picked out on brisket. And so that was kind of interesting to see. But I've added fasting at one point. Till, you know, 11 or 12-ish. I did that just to change it up. I lost most of my weight without fasting, but I most days now try to push off that first meal as long as possible. I feel better. My mind's more focused. Have you ever noticed if you're speaking or have something you're nervous about, you know, standing up in front of people, something like you don't have an appetite? And I heard one keto guy say that he never eats before a presentation because his brain is just so much more focused in fasting state. And I realized like, well, I already naturally do that. Like anytime I want to speak on stage at doTERRA or something, like I never eat. It just clouds my mind, right? My body's busy doing other things. And then afterwards you're like starving because your brain's like, whew, that's done. And the rest of your body kind of wakes up. So I definitely feel just sharper and more focused when I'm fasting. I've never done a long one. That's something we're going to try soon. Usually about 16 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking more about that. You're like hitting into things I'm going to be talking more on the podcast about. I'm going to talk about autophagy. I'm going to bring up all the science to when it comes to fasting and all the stuff that's out there with it. And I'm going to be doing some episodes on that since I've done a lot of reading on this. And I really, because you know, being in the healthcare field that I am, I want to know why, and I want to tell people why, because if someone tells me to do this, do that, whatever, with my typical job in the hospital, I have to know the reasons why behind it. And I did the same thing when it came to understanding the scale. It's not calories in and calories out. And so it's not that at all. Well, we've been told that for so long that we all believe that. Even people that are doing keto even believe that, but it's not true. And there are many factors, and there's a lot of factors to your cortisol levels and stress. And so I think using essential oils to balancing our, helping with our feelings is going to help with those and actually help with weight loss too. If we are not, we're not getting in and out. We're always in that, tense, stressed out living lifestyle. You're not going to lose weight that well either.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there's multiple things. And then also people that have damaged their metabolism, as I know I have, and other people that haven't. So everybody's completely different. And I think that that we're going to see more and more. There's always there's this huge push either to be eating vegan or paleo or keto. And I think that everyone's different with every situation. And so I believe that ketosis has a great thing for us. I do think there's some issues being a vegan, nutritional wise, just through my studies. But I have 2 kids that are. I'm like, okay, just eat your eggs and and get your fat in, because fat is so important for especially our females and our hormones. So important, and we don't eat the right proper amount of the good fats and a good balancing of fats. The right omega-3s to the right omega-6s ratios.
It's hard because everything that's available to us is so off balance. That's why I absolutely teach people that come to me for help, teach them a whole food based keto. Because you can lose weight drinking Diet Coke and everything. Like you said, cut your calories, then you can lose weight. Even getting into ketosis, but are you actually healthier at the end of it? Like, are you going to be thin with cancer? Doesn't defeat, doesn't really matter. So no one's perfect. Perfect. My kids play 8 sports. Like, we're out and about a lot, and we make the best choices we can. But it's hard. And so anyone who's listening is thinking like, oh my gosh, I could never do this. And you can do it. And once, it's just like anything, people that have gone gluten-free and they feel like they could never go gluten-free. And then you learn all the substitutes, you learn all the options. You can never go dairy-free. You learn all the options. It's the same thing with keto. And just trying to remember, like, eat your vegetables, don't cut out your vegetables, and get the healthiest, cleanest meat you can. Get those really healthy eggs with the dark yolks, and your body just will crave, your body craves those things. So.
Absolutely. I did my first fast though, over, it was almost 30 hours. I almost went 36.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I didn't feel hungry for the longest time. Now, everybody will say, oh, well, you did that. Because I will add like some heavy cream in my coffee. I won't just do it black. And I still consider it a fast for me. So I'm not going to be so strict on that and just drink my herbal tea.
Yeah.
I will have to have some coffee. Or, if you love drinking bone broth, I can't just sit there and drink bone broth. It's boring to me.
Only the good stuff though, not the bad, the really good stuff. So,
yes, that you make yourself, or the freezer section, right?
Yeah. And there's one called Fire and something. They actually ship it. It's not frozen, but it's like, all the good things that are in there. They're pretty small for the price.
Yeah.
Organic and all that stuff. But yeah, especially if you're just not feeling well. It's hard when you're keto. If you get sick, we're raised to like eat chicken noodle soup and saltines, and then you're like, when you're really sick, you don't necessarily feel like eating bacon. So every once in a while, if someone gets down, I love having that bone broth around.
When I made it the first time with the chicken feet, I was like, oh, I can't know if I can get over the chicken feet looking. I was like, oh my gosh. And the mental part of that, and going, oh, I'm going to drink chicken feet juice. you have to get over it.
This is healing my gut. This is healing my gut. I add a lot of sea salt to mine, so it's just like salty yumminess.
Oh, that's so cool. I really thank you. I'm like, thank you so much, Rachel. I mean, so what are you using every single day? Like, do you have a little protocol or something right now that you're like helping with your health or your weight loss or your emotions right now? You want to give a tip?
Sure. So if you've had mold exposure, I take the binders in the morning on empty stomach. I try to just drink my green tea in the morning until my first meal. And then I take doTERRA's turmeric capsules, the new ones that are just great for healthy inflammation levels. And, feeling well. I always take at nighttime, I take 2 Copaiba soft gels. I sleep so much better. I don't really have a problem falling asleep because I'm exhausted by the end of the day, and I put in a good hard day of work with kids in doTERRA. I don't have problems sleeping, but I just wake up feeling better if I take those Copaiba soft gels. Again, just nice calm nervous system and all those things. And then the adaptive, I use a new adaptive blend for stress, and that and wild orange. Wild orange is my go-to when I'm anxious and overwhelmed. Just in my hands. I wear this black scarf a lot, and I put oils on it. Yes, it smells like oils right now. I'll put like my wild orange on it in my hair. And so I always have a citrus oil on me, citrus bloom, wild orange, and I'm always drinking a citrus oil. Typically right now it's clementine, tangerine, or wild orange. And so I love to put, like, I get real organic lemon juice from Whole Foods, not the stuff in the green bottle, because that's not real and it's in plastic. You don't want that. But in a glass bottle, real lemon juice, or buy your own lemons and squeeze it. Put that into my water with a citrus oil with a little stevia. And it's like sour and it's sweet, and it just really, hits the spot for me. And so I'm usually drinking those all day long. And then I just take the adaptive pills if I need them. So if I feel anxious or overwhelmed by something, maybe once a week I use those. So those are kind of my go-tos right now. And then Zendicrine Complex, I take those every day. Diffuse whenever I can. I'm wearing Motivate today. I'm such a citrus mint person. That's kind of my, I had a long meeting this morning, and I just went in smelling amazing. So it's always fluctuating. It's always changing. You've got to get to know your oil so you can use your intuition to really, I'll just stand in front of my supplements, and sometimes I'm like, I need D and C today. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I need double probiotics today. I just kind of go based on intuition, because you can't take it all every day. You can't put on all the oil. So just stand there with your oils, and what do you want? What do you want? And smell it before you put it on, and make sure that it's what your body's asking for. So
I agree. I absolutely agree. And I think you're an encouragement. I mean, girl, you rock. 80 pounds.
Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Thank
Like
you.
all new
Size
clothes shopping.
18 to 6. So
Size what?
18 to 6.
So that is like a completely different jean size,
It's a whole different department,
Holy.
So I'm really thankful. And I just hope I can help other women find that freedom. I can pick any pair of jeans I have and any shirt, and I don't have to spend an hour getting dressed every morning and feeling comfortable all the time in my body, and feeling, big on the plane, and feeling like I take up too much space in the world. Just so many things that go along. It's just easier. It's just.
Hey, did you exercise at all during that whole process? Did you exercise?
I did not.
See, don't need exercise. Now, I do love yoga, and I love hot yoga just because it's so detoxing to the body.
Yes.
And I'm so really.
You can keep your hot yoga. I like non-hot yoga, but yes, I love
non-hot yoga. Well, hey, you get into the sauna, girl, and so we'll have to talk about the sauna sometime, because I am going to try to have an expert on the sauna on the podcast sometime, because I think those are the near infrared and the infrared. They're two different things in wavelength, but what I've read on them, I have a little teeny one, and they're awesome.
Yeah, it feels so good. I got in there the other day with just crazy. I have this shoulder issue going on, and just felt so good. Just relieved. That and my Copaiba just keep me moving, functioning. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I have so many, but that's the thing is we have so many options at home, and we can, you really can have so many amazing options at home to feel the best and take care of your health naturally. And that's the best way. This is the best way. I'm not saying that medicine is bad. There are lots of drugs that are super important, but there's a lot of them that just need caution, and you're going to hear more on that. And there's no pill out there for weight loss, and there's no calories in and calories out. Please quit hurting your guys' selves. Go to Whole Foods, and there are people that I actually took dairy out for 30 days, and I'm glad I can do dairy, and I don't feel all mucusy, and it does depend on how much and the quality of dairy that I can eat.
Absolutely.
So, but there are other people that can't. My husband is totally a lot of people that are lactose intolerant, lots of people that don't do well also, but taking digestive enzyme is super helpful for that too.
Yes, I take that all the time, every meal. take that digestive enzyme regardless of what it is. And so also part of my healing journey was learning about the MTHFR gene mutation, and generally those people can't handle dairy or gluten no matter what. And so something to look into if somebody out there is struggling, if you're struggling to stay pregnant or if you're struggling to feel well. Yeah, that was something that really was kind of a key piece in me, you know, learning why I wasn't detoxing and why these toxins were building up in my body, and then realizing, well, genetically, like I had some butter actually on Thanksgiving and I felt fine, but I know if I did it every day, I would be. But I mean, keto tacos made with, you know, cheese taco shells, they get me on Instagram. I'm like, just unfollow, scroll. I can't see all your cheesy goodness, keto, cream cheese and everything.
You miss it?
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have lost 80 pounds if I could have had it, honestly, because I love it. So, yeah, I would have had too much of it.
Good to know, you know. And I think it's so good for us to cycle in and out of certain things. And I mean, you won't know. I didn't get tested. I just know that if you eliminate a food out of your diet for 30 days and then you add it back in, your body's going to let you know if you're staying in tune with your body, if you can have that or not. I was just in a crazy busyness and had aspartame, and aspartame just destroys my body. And it takes many days, even a week after I've been exposed to and add aspartame into my body, what it does to me. And so that's because I know my body.
Yeah.
And I know it in my lab work, what that toxin will do to me. And so I have to, and that's my own self that's going, oh my gosh, in that quick moment, I grabbed something with aspartame and had it, and I'll go, oh, well, just a little is no problem. It catches up. The same thing with gluten. I didn't know gluten was going to be an issue until like 30 days without it. And then you add it back in and it's not nice.
When we all went off gluten as a family to support my son when he was diagnosed with the allergy, and I really knew nothing except that I knew it would be really sad for him if we tried to like just take him off of it. So we all did it. And the biggest difference I saw within days was everyone's face got less inflamed, like just fluid that was being held. And none of my kids are overweight or anything, but everyone just looked more clear and less puffy. And it's really interesting. So my kids now, like they'll have it sometimes and typically don't react, but it's never, you know, they've got teenagers, they eat only God knows at school. But at home, they're taught what we eat and why we eat it. And they're never having it from me. So I just hope I send them out into the world understanding. Like if you ask my 8-year-old what sugar feeds, she'll tell you cancer. Like teaching them why mom makes the choices they make. And, you know, my oldest, like he was really strict for a while and his face got really clear and he's feeling really good. He's a big athlete, football, lacrosse, powerlifting, and football team. They feed them, oh my gosh, here in Texas, chicken and dumplings, and I mean, all the things. And they feed him 3 nights a week and all kinds of Southern food. And so he can, you know, I'm letting him reap the consequences of what he's sown, and he's realizing it. You know, his face is breaking out again. He went back off dairy, it cleared back up. Just kind of realizing the way his body felt. And so I'm just glad he's learning that in my home. He's going to go to college next year. And again, I'm sure have pizza and donuts and everything around him at all times. And hopefully he'll make moderate decisions where he's learned to listen to his body. That's my hope as a mom, is that I've taught them the why, so that they splurge and they have the ice cream sundae with their friends, and then they realize how they feel and why they feel that way. And, you know, they don't do it for a long time again. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, you know, you have to let them, you know, as they age to make their own choices, but you know, it's a learning curve and inspiring. You're doing a great job, Mom.
Thank
5
you.
kids and you homeschooled, so hands down out to you. Oh, I tried it with 1 and I thought,
yeah, well,
I'm not a teacher. Huh?
I tapped out.
You tapped out? You're like, yep, did my share.
That was enough. Yeah.
It is the hardest job out there. So moms out there, it is the hardest job out there. It's the most stressful. It is the most emotional. It is the most toll on our bodies and our emotions. And we need to, as moms, be definitely practicing good self-care, because no one else is. I mean, there are always somebody out for you that
Yeah,
always is depending on you and wants you. But you got to make a quality time to fill up your cup so that you're the best mom. So, yeah.
absolutely.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Thanks for sharing your story. I mean, it's impactful. We have a lot in common, and I really think that your story has been impactful and going to help somebody else. And if you want to reach out to Rachel, you want to give us a way that they can reach out to you? If they want to reach out to you?
Sure. My site is healinginourhomes.com, and there's contact information there. It's just Rachel at healinginourhomes.com. And that's my name across social media. So I have lots of keto videos, practical stuff like should you cheat, should you track, that kind of stuff on my YouTube, same name. Just trying to give people kind of the nitty gritty details of it, and more to come. So yeah.
Awesome. I'll put it in the show notes also.
Thank
And
you.
so thanks for collaborating with me and
Thank
sharing
you.
your story. I think this is going to be beneficial to a lot of people.
Oh, thank you so
So
much for having me.